Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Caregiver and Spoonie blog. As you already know me by now, I'm Jordan Banderas. And just a quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Now, one thing, somebody sent me a message, an email, telling me or asking me why do I always say or why do I think that everybody should go to therapy. Now, that's just my opinion because therapy helped me a lot. Now, and I think I have mentioned this before in a previous episode, you don't actually have to go to therapy. Because if you have somebody to talk to, like your best friend, as long as they can actually, they can just listen to you without interjecting their opinion or anything like that, you're gonna listen to what you're saying, and then you're gonna be like, maybe I need to do something about that. That's pretty much what I'm referring. If you have to go to therapy, go. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But you have to find a way to talk about how you're feeling. That's what therapy helped me with, to talk about my feelings. Now that's why I'm able to talk about everything that has happened to me, which obviously it was hard enough for me to traumatize me. Everybody has their own story. Everybody goes through their own hardships, through their own trials and tribulations. So my story might not seem as hard as somebody else's story. But it was hard enough for me, and that's why. I enjoyed therapy because it helped me. I was like, wow, that helped me. But like I said, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. I'm just giving my opinion. That's just how I feel because of how it helped me. But let's talk about today's episode. So I already talked about my brother getting stabbed, a bunch of things. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Let's dig a little bit deeper because this particular episode is going to focus on me moving to the States. So my grandpa passed away. We didn't have any reason to literally not be able to move to the States, except that we couldn't get our visas for a while because that particular process is a pain in the butt. Everybody says like, oh, you need to get your visa. Let me tell you, it is the hardest thing. Even if you have all your documents, even if you have all the proof that you need, everything that they ask you, they're still gonna deny you. It's a criteria of one person, not they don't follow the exact criteria. It's like, oh, if you have all these documents, then you can go to the States, at least for vacation, or you get your visa. No, even if you have all the documents, you have all the proof that they asked, you have everything, they're like, no. And that happened multiple times to us. So I think one of the situations or something that happened with me is that my mom was angry. My mom was irritated about that because every time that we had to do it, you have to pay money. So we were losing money every time, and we did it multiple times. So we lost a lot of money, and finally we were able to get our visa. But here's one thing though: before we even got our visa. I don't remember exactly when it was. If it was in December, I know it was in December, but I don't remember if it was in 1998 or 1999. I think it was in 1999. My uncle had my cousin's birthday party in Mexico, so I went there. I did all of this, blah 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 blah. We had fun. And one of the things that happened is that my mom took my aunt somewhere to get I think it was to get the cake or something for the party. And I'm not making this up. This is what my mom said, and I believe her and I'm going to explain that as well. I guess my aunt, somehow they were able to talk about us moving to the States, coming to Utah. And my aunt told my mom, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want you over there. I don't want you to move with us. That's what my aunt told my mom. And then that created a huge issue because after the party was over, I don't remember who took me home. But then I was at home, and I guess my mom and my brother, they were helping doing something. And when they were going home, my mom told told my brother what my aunt had said. Like, I don't want you to move to the States. I don't want you there. It's not something that I want. And so I don't know exactly what happened. I just remember what my mom said, that she told that to my brother, and my brother was like angry. So somehow he got angry because I don't know, it had something to do with his girlfriend or something like that, that his girlfriend at the time. And my mom reacted the only way that she can react, or the only way that she knows how to react, which is through aggression. So she said something about my either my brother or my brother's girlfriend. So my brother got mad, and while my mom was driving, he punched her. Like, he didn't punch her in the face or anything like that, which is still not good. He punched her in the arm. So she started crying. They get home. They get home. My mom is crying. I don't, like I said, somebody took me home or something like that. Or they dropped me off so they could do something else. So I'm at home. My mom is crying. My brother is yelling. I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, I'm just thinking, like, what happened? My mom tells me what happened, how my aunt told her that she didn't want us to move to the States, and 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 one thing is that I guess that's when my mom told me, like, hey, your brother got mad, and he punched me. And then my mom calls my uncle, tells her. My uncle gets mad, comes to the house. My brother is like, no, remember, you insulted my girlfriend or something like that. You insulted me. So they were like fighting, and I'm just like a kid. Like, if it was in 1998, I was like 12. I mean, if it was in 1998, it was in like, I was like 11. If it was 99, I was like 12. So I'm like, wow. I remember like just sitting there, they're fighting. My uncle shows up. I'm crying because they're fighting so bad. Like, they're yelling at each other. I'm crying because I don't know what to do. And my uncle shows up. So he talks to my brother. Well, he didn't talk to my brother. He's all like, oh, you want to punch somebody? Punch me. And my brother is all like looking down, like, no, I want to punch you. But, like trying to talk to him. And my uncle is all like, you want to fight me? Like, they're trying to act like he acted like he wanted to fight my brother. But my brother didn't want to fight him. So I'm all like, I don't know what to do. I'm just like listening to all the fighting, to all the yelling. And my uncle leaves, and I ask my mom, hey, how come you didn't tell him what my aunt said? Because this is what caused the issue. And she's like, no, I didn't want to tell him because I don't want to cause issues between them. And I don't think he will believe me. And I was like, I think that made me realize that my uncle wouldn't believe us. So that was kind of hard, because it's like, wow, he wouldn't even believe his own family. And I don't know now, like, the only reason why I'm saying this is because, for one, it's my story that I saw it happening. So even if they say like, oh, that's not what happened, it's like, I saw it, I heard it, my mom told me, my brother said, so it's what happened, and that's my story, and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm not making this up. Like, that did happen. And what happened after that is like, so my uncle leaves. And my brother is mad. Like, he's like angry. My mom, I guess, had a date already planned and everything. So she decides to live with her boyfriend at the time, or the guy that she was seeing. And I remember this. This is kind of hard, because I remember I was just watching TV. I was watching TV in the living room. My brother is in the room, and he comes over and literally just starts unloading this. He beat me up so bad, like, again, like, he beat me up like so bad. I was like trying to defend myself. Like, I literally crawl into a little ball. Like, he was beating me up so bad. He was kicking me. He was beating me, telling me all these things, that how he hated my mom, how he hated my uncle, how he hated me. And I'm like, I'm like trying to cover myself. Like, he was beating me up like so freaking bad. Like, he beat me up bad. I'm surprised that he didn't kill me, to be honest, because he was so mad. Like, he beat me up so bad. But I was like 12, let's say. He's 7 years older than me. He's like 19. I couldn't really defend myself because, for one, he attacked me out of nowhere, so I couldn't really like even get up. Like, he just beat me up, like beat the crap out of me. I'm all like crying, and he's all like, if you tell my mom, I'm gonna kill you, and all of this, and he just kept going. It was for at least, like, he beat me up for a long time. Or at least it felt like an eternity. It felt like a long time. So I'm all like, literally like sore, like I just remember covering my head. For some reason I decided to cover my head because he was beating me up so bad. Like, he was kicking me in the legs, he was kicking me in the stomach, he was kicking me in my ribs, he was kicking me so bad and beating me up with his hands. And after that point, I was like, I'll never let him beat me up like that again. And after that point, I was like fighting back every time he will do something, because I was angry myself. I mean, you gotta understand this. I was angry myself because I had nothing to do with the issues. He just like projected his anger onto me, while my mom went out with her boyfriend. She literally left me there, not knowing. Obviously, she didn't know that that was going to happen. But she left me there after all this freaking issue. I guess she thought that everything was going to be okay, but it wasn't. Because my family tends to put everything under the rug until literally it explodes. So I'm all like beat up. My mom comes back. She's all like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't tell her. I didn't tell her exactly what happened, but I was sore and I was mad because I felt like she knew I felt like she knew something was going to happen, but she didn't want to deal with it. So that's why she left. Or I also felt like she didn't really care about what could have happened, and she just wanted to be out of the house. Because my brother, like I said, he beat me up so bad. Like, I am really surprised that he didn't kill me. So, and then I was also mad at my uncle. I was mad at my aunt because she caused this issue. I mean, in my mind, I'm like, she caused the problem. She said this to my mom. My mom reacted the only way that she could have reacted. I didn't know that at that point, but it's like, because of what my aunt said, my mom reacted a certain way that pissed off my brother, and then things escalated. So things escalated, but guess what happened? This is the funniest part about this. Even though my aunt didn't want us to move, we were able to get our visas, and we moved to the States. So I was like, when I moved to the States, I was literally, well, I mean, I was happy, but at the same time not happy, because I knew that my aunt didn't want us here. My aunt didn't really want us to move here, so I kind of felt like not wanted, like an intruder, literally, because of what she had said to my mom. So I felt like an intruder. I had to follow the rules, which it was okay. The only problem is that when it came to school, I didn't really care, and I'm gonna talk about that in another episode. But I moved to the States, to my uncle's house. I felt like an intruder. I felt like I wasn't wanted. My mom never said anything to my uncle, so about what my aunt said. So I'm like, okay, like, am I safe here? Because I was still scared about my brother. My brother didn't move to the States with us. He decided to stay with his girlfriend. So it was just me and my mom. We're living with my uncle, my aunt, and my cousin. And the thing is that I never felt wanted in that house. I never felt like I was welcome. And a lot of things that happened on our childhood. Again, this is all about no, this is all about what has happened in our childhood and things like that. That's facing our trauma. So so if you feel unwanted in your own house, like because of something your mom said or did, or however you were raised, you're gonna again project that. It's gonna cause anger. It's gonna cause a lot of issues growing up because you're never gonna feel wanted though. You're gonna one of the things that I did though growing up because of feeling this way is like, and I have mentioned this before, I have ruined relationships. I was always I felt like nobody could ever want me because of who I am or how I am. So I ruined relationships. I was fighting all the time with my mom and my uncle. So it's hard when you're a kid and all of this stuff happens. You don't know how to react. And again, um, or actually, one of the things that I realize now because I listened to this psychotherapist. Her name is Lori Gottlieb, I think, and she came up with a book. It's a very good book, which is called "You Should Talk to Someone," and that's and one of the things that she says, or she said on this interview, I just listened to her on the Jay Shetty podcast. I will recommend that as well. Um, she says that when you're a kid, the adults won't will try to shut your feelings. They will kind of almost make you feel like your feelings are not validated, and that's how I always felt my entire life. So with what happened with my aunt and my mom is like I felt like I always felt like I wasn't wanted, like I wasn't gonna be welcome here in the States or in Utah. So I felt like I wasn't wanted. So what is that going to do? Because the way that they were acting, they like my aunt is, oh, you wanted, you were expected to come, all of this. I was confused because I was like, you don't know what your own wife said. So I'm confused because I don't know if you know that she doesn't want us here. So I was confused. I was always like on the defensive pretty much. Because even though we were living in their house, I know that at one point they could have kicked us out, and they did kick us out, and then blame it on me. And I'm gonna be talking about that in another episode because that's a whole nother story just on its own. But one of the things is that I want to say with this story is that don't let anybody unvalidate your feelings, even as an adult, because I grew up in a way that my feelings were never validated. Like I was. Like because of all these things that I have explained throughout the episodes, I was very angry. I was extremely angry. But then they always said to me, like, you shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't feel like that because you have a house, or you have us, you have your family, you have all of this. But what happens when your family is the root of you feeling that way? You can't really articulate it because you don't want to offend your family. You don't want to you don't want to feel like you don't want to tell them what's going on because they're just gonna unvalidate you. That's how I felt with my uncle. He was all like, "Oh, you shouldn't be angry. All of this, like you should do this." And if you feel sad, like I was never able to talk about my feelings with my mom or my uncle. I have said that before because every time I will try to say something, they would say like, "Oh, you shouldn't feel like that." And I know this happens a lot. This is one of the things that happens a lot. And now as adults, we have issues. Like I'm just talking about my issues right now, but I'm pretty sure that if you're listening to this and you can relate to my stories, you might feel like, oh, I had a similar situation. And if you did have a similar situation, one of the things that we have to do, or this is what I did, is that I had to work through it. And if you and in future episodes, I'm gonna mention like what made me work through it, and why I realized that I needed help, because since we don't know what exactly is going on, like we don't know how to feel, we feel like it's all in our head. So we don't need help. We don't know how to articulate it. I honestly didn't know how to articulate my feelings until I went to therapy, because of, like I have mentioned before in a different episode. I had this the therapist had this deck of cards, and it explained feelings. So once I learned how to do that, now I'm able to talk about it. And the thing is that my uncle still doesn't know what my aunt told my mom, and if he finds this episode or anything like that, I really don't care, because that did happen. And if it causes problems between between my family, I really don't care, because that's what happened, and it caused issues with me. Like it caused me to get a beat down from my brother. It caused me to be angry at my family. It caused me to be on the defensive with everybody, because that beating, like I said, he could kill me, but then the next day everybody acts like normal. So if you had a situation like this, you're gonna feel confused. You're gonna be like, is it just in my head that I'm feeling this? Like, is it okay to feel this way? Because now it's okay. And that's pretty much what what the abuser will do. Like the next day they will talk to you like nothing happens. So you're gonna be confused, because you're gonna think like, is it even okay to feel like that? Maybe I did deserve it, but you don't deserve to receive those kind of beatings, that kind of treatment, especially from your family. Like when I moved to the States, I mean, I'm a kid that has been already traumatized. I moved to the States. I feel unwelcome. I feel like an outsider. And then I'm pretty much being told like, oh, you're gonna go to school and you're gonna do good. But I'm like, I don't know the language. I have to learn the language. Which learning a new language, it was kind of hard. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. But it takes time. So because I'm not I have all these feelings inside of me. I feel like school is not necessary for me. Like, I just want to do other things instead of school, because of the way that I was feeling. I was going to school. I was feeling like lonely. I still had my friends. I made friends and everything like that. But at home, I was having issues with my mom. I was having issues with my aunt. Not with my aunt, but with my uncle. And they were all blaming it on me. It's like, how come you're acting like this when it's when you're when we were able to move you to bring you to the States, you're gonna have a better life. But it's not about that. And I know this sounds kind of repetitive, but it's like I have always said, like, talk to your kids, talk about feelings. Like, talking about your feelings is gonna be the best thing that you can do. Even if you talk about your feelings on your own, or by yourself, because that's what I do now. If I feel angry or anything like that, I ask myself, how come I feel like this? What's going on? There's a deeper issue. There's a root for that. And I find the answer, and then I'm able to move on. I'm like, okay, then it's not even worth it. I was taking this the wrong way. And that's what we need to do, because now, like, in my situation, like, you gotta understand that I saw my brother getting stabbed by my mom. I saw my grandpa died, like, literally right in front of me. I was hit by a bus. Then my aunt says that to my mom. Then I moved to their house. So I had at that point so many feelings. Like, the anger was starting to the feeling of anger and all these feelings started to cause depression on me. And feeling depressed, um, obviously is not a good feeling, but you're not alone when you feel depressed, though. You might feel alone, but if you talk to somebody about how you're feeling, you're gonna realize why you feel depressed. And that's why I say, like, therapy helped me. If you feel like it's gonna help you, go to therapy. But if you feel like you can actually do it on your own, because there's people that have done it on their own, they've been able to come out of the darkness on their own, but they work through it. And it's not easy, but it can be done. Now, if you have suffered to something like that, feel like if you have always felt unwanted or unwelcome even at your own house, uh, you have to learn to let that go. That's how I was able to become a better person and a happier person, because like I have mentioned before, I wasn't a good person because of the way that I was feeling, because of everything that was going on in my head. So right now, I'm actually doing a lot better, and that's why I want to share all this with you. And I know that sometimes it might sound repetitive with the therapy and everything like that, but I want you to understand that talking to somebody is one of the best things that you can do. So that's what the story that I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you guys are enjoying the blog and the podcast. And like I have mentioned before, if you want to share your story anonymously, you can send it to me at the caregiver and spoony at gmail.com. You can share it on our community at the caregiver and spoony community on Facebook, the caregiver and spoony page on Facebook, or also you can follow us, and don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, so that way you don't miss any episodes. And if you know somebody that's struggling mentally, especially right now with everything that's going on, I'm filming this during the pandemic, so if you know somebody that's struggling, you can share this with them. That way they understand that they're not alone, or you can just talk to them, let them know that you're there for them. Because in this type of situation, when you're in quarantine, you're missing uh, human touch or anything like that, you just want to know that somebody's going to be there for you. Like if you're not able to call them to go see them because they might be immunocompromised, just call them. You can FaceTime them, just let them know, hey, if you need to talk, I'm here. Just send me a text. It might take me a long time, but I will respond at one point. And don't take it personal, buddy. That's why I have said to my wife is whenever I'm at work and she needs to send me a text, I just tell her like, hey, it might take me a little bit to respond, but I'm gonna tell you, I will respond at one point. Don't take that personal. Don't take that personally, because then it's gonna create issues. But communication is key, especially with your friends, family, kids, or whoever you need to help. But thank you for listening to my stories. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your feedback. And I leave you with this, like always, take care of yourself and have a great day.